Well, hello and welcome back to Movie Roulette. Of course you want more light.
I think it's the only light.
Yeah, that might be the only bloody light.
There we go.
There we go. So welcome to Movie Roulette.
I feel like we probably jumped in there a little bit too soon after we started talking.
Welcome to Movie Roulette.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Justin.
Now I'm Todd.
So tonight, we have 4 movies. And guess what? Tonight's also the premiere of...
Black Panther.
I was going to say Black Lightning. So our 4 movies tonight are either the highly anticipated Black Panther, the first Marvel movie of 2018,
Early Man,
made by the guys who also made Wallace and Gromit, Samson, which I know nothing about.
it's based off the Bible story.
Oh, dear God.
And then Monster Hunt 2.
I at first thought that was like the sequel to that one movie. Monster Squad is the movie I was thinking about. I was kind of like, I've actually never seen Monster Squad. A sequel? I'm intrigued.
And
What is it really, Todd?
it's some movie in Japan from China.
So here's our game tonight. Go get.
That's all. Before we start the game, that's all I literally know about this movie. It's gonna be in Mandarin, and it's 2 hours long, and that's it. I'm gonna go. If we get this movie, I'm going in this completely blind.
As you know, I mean, fucking Samson. I'm kind of going blind myself. So
But what are you excited to see?
I'm really excited to see Black Panther. Kind of. I feel like I should be more excited as a Marvel fan, but I feel like it's kind of overhyped. But I still want to see it. I heard it's really good from the early reviews. What are you most excited to see?
Believe it or not, it's not Black Panther.
I'm assuming it's Early Man.
It's Early Man, yeah.
You're a huge animation fan. Like, you are a huge animation nut.
And it's by the same guys of Wallace and Gromit, so I mean, I feel like that, to me, is a plus. Like, if it wasn't done by them, I wouldn't care.
So,
And there goes the rain.
lots of rain. So here's what we're going to do today. We are going... You know, better yet, I'm going to call my roommate. And we're going to tell him to pick a random number 1 through 4. 1 is Black Panther, 2 is Early Man, 3 is Samson, 4 is... What's it called again?
Monster Hunt.
Monster Hunt. Hopefully he'll pick up. Can't tell him what it means, so we just got to tell him to pick a number 1 through 4.
Hopefully he's not at work.
Oh, shit, I didn't think about that, actually.
And he's at work. Oh!
Hey, Chance. Really weird question, but really quick. Pick a number 1 through 4.
3.
Well, hello, and welcome back to Movie Roulette. And again, Justin forgot the camera.
I don't care anymore.
You don't care about anything after this movie, don't you?
No, not really. Life, love, science, music, no. Everything was dead after Samson.
Well, yeah, we saw Samson, the biblical story about Samson and Delilah.
Oh, is that his last name?
No, that's the girlfriend.
Oh, I didn't know
Samson
that.
and Delilah.
Oh, I never knew about that because I'm actually not very well versed in biblical stories. In fact, I didn't know this was a biblical story until I think a couple hours before we saw the movie. As we were sitting there, we were looking it up, and we're just like, "Oh, it's a biblical movie." I was like, "This is what we're in
But
for."
for the trailer, it didn't feel like it was like he's the chosen one who's got to stop the evil people.
Kind of reminded me of Ben-Hur,
Which one?
the original.
Okay. Not the Fast and the Furious one.
Which one are you talking about?
The newest one. The trailer looked like it was for a Fast and the Furious movie.
There's a new Ben-Hur coming out?
It came out like last year.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, that's just weird.
But we saw Samson Delilah, and yeah, we don't care about doing this anymore. This is actually I'm gonna break the rules here. This is probably my first F.
You'd actually give this one an F?
Yeah.
I mean, it was not good by any means. It's pretty bad. But at the same time, I would not go as far as to give it an F. I would give this one a D, and here's my reasoning. Well, for the obvious, breaking down the most common elements, things like the acting, just atrocious. And can I point this out real fast? I'm so sick and tired of constantly hearing people speak in these British accents, especially when they do any kind of movie, because they think it's fucking sophisticated. Because you want to know something? They're supposed to be in Jerusalem. Why are they speaking in British accents? Did you catch that?
Hip hip cheerio.
Like,
chips.
like seriously, I mean, it wasn't like fucking as posh as that. But let's be realistic here. Why are they speaking with British accents when the English Empire is probably long since been, long before it has ever been so much as conceived? It is not even a sperm floating in the world's fucking testicle sack yet.
Okay. Why are the beards fake?
Oh God.
Okay,
I hated that. It annoyed the hell out of me.
Why did the walls look like they were made out of cardboard? You want to know why?
No, they didn't look like they were made out of cardboard. They looked more like they were made out of plaster.
There were a couple times where I'm like, that looks like it's made out of cardboard.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I mean, I'm just. You're complaining about the acting. Compared to everything else.
This movie, this is the biggest sin of this movie. It's so cheap looking. Like, it looks like they just took all their budget and then decided to do I don't know what. It's just like Food Fight. Like, where did this budget go? Did they even have a budget?
They bought fake beards.
These beards were so fake looking, and they didn't match the actors. And I love how Samson's just like, I'm this strapping young man. A few years later, giant beard.
Everyone had a giant beard.
And it's like nobody looked older. Everybody looked exactly the same. Like, they didn't even bother to go in and use a little bit of makeup to age them up just a little bit to sell the effect. But you know what have really sold the effect? If there wasn't like just a straight cut line for those beards. Like, that's not how beards work. I don't exactly have the thickest beard myself. I'm looking at Todd's beard here. You know what? There's some fade. There's some like gradient to it. You know what these guys didn't have? Real fucking beards.
You know, the best way I could set this movie is like it was some priest. It's like, you know what? I got some money I stole from a couple of the, patrons. I want to make a movie. I feel like that's what happened here. He's like, but I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm still gonna make it. And it's gonna be like, God, show me the way.
But here's the thing. I feel like this movie could have been at least mediocre. In fact, I dare say that's what I better call it as. It's like it's mediocre, but on the lower end of mediocre.
I'm so against that. It's like everything about this movie
You just hate it.
is completely wrong. Bad acting, bad special effects,
Terrible choreography. Like,
lighting. For
Get-
the love of God, lighting.
the coloring.
Yeah.
The coloring changed from shot to shot. Like, for the love of God, for the love of Samson's God, get a color corrector. That's their job. And it's not hard. It's not a hard job to go through and balance out shots. And it was so glaringly obvious. It's like some shots, were kind of flatter, and then some just were like super high contrast. And it's like, okay, are you guys standing in the same room with the same light sources and everything? What the fuck? I feel like they were shot on two completely separate days, like every single scene. Like, they could never get any of the actors together at the same time at the same place.
Maybe that's what happened.
Then if you can't get actors together to act together, then don't make a movie or fire them and get someone else.
And I think you're going to change your score, aren't you?
No, I'm still okay. I like I said, I still hold that is mediocre on the lower end, but like on the really low end. Like, it to me, I don't know. There wasn't that one truly awful moment or like truly egregious sin that just pushed me over the edge to say this is an awful movie.
See, I disagree with you because maybe there wasn't one sin that was like, oh, this is so bad, this is horrible. It's every little thing.
I know, it is the devil in the details type deal.
Like, it's in a giant cauldron, and it's just like, it was all rotten food. Like, they were cooking, but it was all rotten food.
That's a good point.
And here's my thing, is two of my favorite movies of all time. 10 Commandments and Ben-Hur. Okay?
And Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, well...
Once you had started some religious context into there.
Well, there is a religious context in Planet of the Apes, but, you know... And yes, they all star Charleston Heston. But... these movies are grand, epic, biblical tales. Hell, even The Passion of the Christ.
That's true.
You know, are well done biblical stories.
Right, and that's why I'm not sitting here trying to say, like, oh, it's a biblical movie. I'm not completely writing off for that reason. You know, there are pretty good biblical movies out there. I mean, look at VeggieTales.
And so when I think of all these biblical movies, I'm comparing them to these movies that are these great, epic stories. And here's Samson and Delilah, like, they want to be epic, they want to be grand.
It's because, well, let's be realistic. You know, even if you're not someone who's religious, you got to admit the stories in the Bible are pretty cinematic.
Yeah.
Like, there are these huge events with larger-than-life people.
I mean, and it doesn't help that Cecil DeMille, the guy who directed Ben-Hur and the 10 Commandments, well, not Ben-Hur, he didn't do Ben-Hur, he did 10 Commandments, directed his own version of Samson.
And it's a lot better.
And it's 10 times better.
It's 10 times Ben-Hur.
Really?
It was right there. I took it.
But I mean, it's just like, when you have a better version, when you have another version, you compare the two.
That is true.
But
frankly, I wasn't walking into this comparing it to anything. As its own thing, I feel like this movie still failed. Maybe that's why you hate it so much, is because you have something to compare it to.
And even if I don't compare it, I'm still pissed off with everything that was going on in the making of this movie.
It's mostly the art direction that really screwed this movie over. I never thought I'd say that.
It's not just the art direction, it's the direction too.
That's true. That is very true. Remember that scene, that huge fight with the army, which I dare say is probably the biggest scene in that movie.
Yeah.
Which should have been ultimately the climax.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't make it the climax because the story ends with his hair being cut off.
Yeah.
So
that wig was fake as hell looking.
Everything in this movie was fake.
Yeah, it's a movie. You think Samson was real? You think people actually have faith in God? My God, man, what's wrong with you?
Every hair was fake. What the heck are you talking about?
But I meant like after it got cut, like how it suddenly almost kind of looked like this, almost like Carrot Top looking dude. You notice that?
Would this movie be better if it was Carrot Top?
A little bit. I would love to just see him pull out a mannequin and use him as Delilah. Dude, I mean, his art, make Carrot Top the art director of this movie. His props would have been so much better. Let's be real. Can I also point out the absolute stupidity of Samson? Yes, I get it. It's the point of the story. You know, it happened in the biblical story. But my gosh, people are just stupid. Like, there are points where he's just like, hey, or, you know, like those points where he actually walks up to the king and he's like, hey, you know, I'd like to broker peace. King's like, no, I'm about to fuck your world up. And he's just like, okay, then we're going to go into war then. You know what Samson could have done? Could have killed him. Because you want to know something else? He's already killed. Who cares at this point? Who cared at that point? You couldn't say, like, oh, he's got a moral dilemma. He killed, like, 1,000 men in one fight!
I feel like everyone in this movie was stupid. I mean, the main villain was stupid. Like,
why did both of the girls, like, betray him like that? Like, I feel like he could have done that a lot better. Like, it just kind of seemed to come out of nowhere, just saying, like, especially the second one. What was her name?
Delilah.
Oh, that was Delilah. I thought the first one was Delilah. I don't know. I wasn't paying
I could be wrong.
I was not paying attention to the names. I will admit to that.
I've never read the story. I don't understand why this story and David and Goliath and are the ones that want to become movies when you should really be looking at the story of Ezekiel and the prophet, because one of the kings in there, he like chops off all the heads and they roll down mountains. I want to see that.
That's actually pretty metal. Talk about real quick that fight scene, the one with the army.
Yes. No, I got a question for it. Which fight scene is better? Bruce Lee Popeye fighting a
Bruce Lee and Popeye.
or this fight scene?
No, you can give me any fight scene ever. Any fight scene ever. I'm going with The Dragon Lives Again. Automatically. I don't care how amazing this fight scene is. You don't get better than Popeye fighting mummies.
But I mean, like, the reason why I asked him this question is because if you watch the Bruce Lee Popeye fight scene, everyone's missing everything.
And it's even worse in this. And here's the best part. Here's something that always bugs me about, like characters fighting armies. Why didn't the army of thousands surround him, which they had, and start attacking him at the same time?
Yeah.
They went in one at a time. You know what was happening? They were getting picked off.
One.
No, they were getting picked off tens at a time. That scene where he's like huddled down. He's just like, God, give me strength. There was this one soldier that was sitting like right next to his face, and I kind of wanted to see the soldier just look at him and say like, my name's Greg.
I like his face though. I'm like, dude, you're in a professional movie. Act serious, for crying out loud.
It's like you try to be serious with your accents. You try to be all dramatic and poetic, and even though you're not. And then the scene the part where he picks up, what the hell was that he picked up? It kind of looked like a boomerang with a handle.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell his weapon was, but then he just like whips it out.
I think it was a bone.
Was it a bone? But what kind of weapon would you call it? Boomerang with a handle?
What did they call it in The Last Airbender? He calls it boomerang, doesn't he?
No, it's not in The Last Airbender. He actually has a boomerang. That's an actual boomerang. This was like...
Yeah, but he can hit people over the head with it.
Yeah, he could. It had double function, but this is legit. Like, it was just shaped somewhat resembling a boomerang. But, like, he was sitting there and he's fucking playing whack-a-mole with them!
I remember we were in the movie and I turned to Justin and I go, whack-a-mole. And you lost it. You completely lost it in the theater. And I'm just like...
I was honestly surprised to see we were not the only people in that theater. There was like, I wouldn't say it was like half filled, it was like a quarter filled.
I think it was four. There was a family of four.
Four or five.
Four or five, and then a couple of two up front.
Yeah, so that was a lot more than I expected to be.
Yeah.
Like the second we walked in, we saw this girl sitting there, we're like, damn, somebody's actually in here other than us. What bet did you lose?
I bet you she's a religious person.
Bet you she's not after walking out of this movie.
I mean, this movie is just cheap. Like, I feel like it was just... The church... Some church had a lot of money. And they decided they wanted to make a movie. And instead of getting actual film people involved...
Film people? You mean filmmakers?
I'm going to call them film people.
That's what they probably call them.
Yeah.
Hey, film people number 7. Come over here. What do? I'm called a cinematographer. You're cameraman. Get out there, cameraman.
No, you do makeup.
You're lipstick.
You, what do you do? I do makeup. No, you're a cinematographer. No, but I feel like they had money and they're like, we want to make a movie. We don't know what we're doing.
We don't know how to build sets or where to get people to build sets for us.
I feel like what it is they got the father who films the film pageants.
Oh my god.
And if you're like, we're making a movie, you kind of know what you're doing. We want you to direct this.
It makes sense. It makes sense. No, they got Mel Gibson's cousin. They said, hey, your cousin once directed one of the best religious movies of all time. Get in there, champ.
No, I still stick with my theory. It's a father who filmed a pageant, and the priest was so amazed with the pageant. It's like, we're going to take some money. We're going to make a full-length biblical epic. And the guy was like, cool.
And then after that, they decided which one.
Yeah. And then it's just like, all right, we're going to take all the props from the little pageant that we did, and we're going to use them.
And all the wardrobe, that's going to come from the middle school play.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell was with the king's crown? That bugged me.
That bugged me
It
too.
was so cheap looking. Like, it looked like something from the Halloween store. I seriously feel like I could have gone out there and built a better costume for $20 than what they had on that fucking king. Fuck. Even with most of the characters, just a general design, give me $20, I will build you a single costume that looks better than any single one of these. And that's bad.
I feel like he went to Burger King, got one of those cardboard crowns and paid it up. So, what do you rate it?
I gotta give it a D-.
D-. Yeah, I'm still sticking with the F.
It's close. It's close, but I can't bring myself to say F.
It's, I thought about it. I really thought, because at first I thought, I'm going to give this movie a D. I really did. Then I thought about it. I'm like, everything about this movie is wrong. There is no good thing I can really say about this movie.
No redeeming qualities.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, the beards are off.
Yeah.
The lighting was off. The colors were off. The direction was off. The acting was off.
Everything in this movie was cheap, off, and just poorly thought out. It could have been saved so many times. And you can't use the excuse of it's an independent movie. You also can't use the excuse of, oh, it's a religious movie. They don't care. Give people better.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of movie it is. You give people better. If they come in there, if they pay their money for you to sit down and watch this movie, you give them better.
But I mean, it's just, you're right. There's no excuse. And I think that's what pisses me off. There's no excuse for this story to be this bad.
Yeah. And again, you can say independent movies, but at the end of the day, that's not an excuse. And you know what? I would actually like to sit down soon. I'd actually like to talk about that at some point. But you know what we're going to do first is, because coming up this weekend, we are going to be doing our live vidcast of Film Play. And this week, we're going to be talking about superhero movies. We're going to be discussing a few things about it. We know it's kind of overplayed. We know we're just going for the topical, but we actually have a few things that I want to say about it.
I think it's going to be interesting. It's different than what's usually out there.
Right.
But we want you to come check it out. It's on Friday.
It's going to be around 9 or 10 p.m. We'll post some more information here pretty shortly, but it's going to be done by our good friends Daniel Day and Nathan Gorney. So it's going to be the E2 network.
Yep.
So you guys stick around, and we will see you on Friday.
Yep. And we'll also see you next week for the next episode of Movie Roulette.
What comes out next week?
The one about the game night.
Oh, game night. All right, I'm already into this. Let's go see game night.